I didn't know what Zionism was.
October 7th, being one of the first celebrities to start getting involved.
You know, when you see a child being taken, you see a mother being taken, but it's not something that I felt that I can just watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, at small forward, standing 6'7", 260 pounds, from St. John's, NBA All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year, and NBA Champion, Metta Sandiford-Artest.
We in the building, baby.
We in the building.
Good to see you, man.
It's great to see you.
Absolutely.
It's great to have you here.
I know. It's good to be here. Thanks for having me on the podcast.
So, first of all, Mazel Tov on your new child.
Thank you.
How many kids do you have now?
Yeah, 5 children.
Amazing.
70 nieces and nephews.
70?
70, when you're counting the great nieces
great
and
nieces and nephews.
nephews.
But still, that's quite a number.
And when you're counting other nieces and nephews I've acquired along my journey, which I love them dearly, and then 2 grandchildren.
2 grandchildren?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Blessings, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to start with the obvious. The obvious question that I think probably most people listening and watching this are thinking, which is, what the hell is Metta World Peace doing on this Jewish podcast? And I want to start that with how we met,
Right.
which was, there was this one-day lab here in LA put on by an organization called Jews Talk Justice, which is a branch of the Tel Aviv Institute that I often talk about on this show. And I walk in, I see my usual sort of Jewish advocate faces, and then I see Metta World Peace. So what were you doing there that day at the Jews Talk Justice Lab?
When I first came out, and I was probably doing something in philanthropy on October 6th, and October 7th happened, and I'm like, oh, wow. I couldn't believe my eyes. But I'm not saying I don't respect or I'm not taking into consideration the history, of the Palestinian people. I'm saying at that moment, I saw something, I'm like, wow, it hurt my heart. So I was probably one of the first celebrities to actually comment.
Yeah.
And then just from that perspective, being at an event, I want to understand because I didn't know what Zionism was. I didn't know what anti-Semitism, the actual jargon and what it meant.
Yeah.
And even other cultures, I don't know different things in other cultures. I just don't know because I'm doing philanthropy. So for me, it's about learning about the different cultures.
But that's so huge, just having that desire to. It's impossible for us to know everything about every culture. You just have to want to be open to learning and understanding, and it's so great that that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You mentioned October 7th. That's when you first felt you had to say something, one of the first celebrities to start getting involved. You wrote an amazing article for the New York Post. What compelled you, in that moment, I gotta write something, I gotta put something out there?
I'm definitely not for any terrorist attack anywhere around the world.
Of course.
That one particular statement was catered towards what happened. When you see a child being taken, if you see a mother being taken, I don't care who it is. You have to have a soft spot. It's not something that I felt that I can just watch.
Yeah.
My fight and my focus and my concern is for people to be happy.
Why is that? Where did that come from? Why is that your mission?
Why did I change my name to World Peace? It started in 1990 when I seen the war in the Middle East. As a 10-year-old, I was affected. Why? I don't know. I can't tell you. But as a 10-year-old, I was affected by seeing images of other people, even though we're going through our stuff here in America, but I was affected by that. So then that got me on thinking about things globally. But I think we got so much potential. I think everybody's so focused on fighting here, and we're forgetting about exploration. We're forgetting about why we're here. And I think we're here to do something special.
Putting on my psychologist hat for a minute, do you think the fact that your upbringing, your childhood, which we'll get into in a little bit, was so tumultuous and traumatic, do you feel like that's sort of led to you trying to devote your life to creating peace and happiness for others?
I didn't grow up, in peaceful conditions or environment, or even a mindset. I grew up in survival mindset, watch your back mindset, and it's tiring. It's tiring to be on edge all the time. And it's you know what? How about we flip that on its head? How about, I think differently, which could then have somebody from a neighborhood like where I'm from, thinking peacefully, thinking about academics, thinking about working with others, not being afraid to work with others, not being afraid of someone's culture because you don't understand it. Don't listen to TV and, I'm not good enough or I can't approach this person like, hey, sir, hey, ma'am, I would like to intern at your place. Maybe you don't have the jargon, but you'll get it, right? And just how do we become comfortable? And for me, I want to leave confidence in people. I don't want to leave fear.
Yeah.
The hardest part is to, feel someone's pain and then try to come up with solutions. That's the hard, and that's the work I want to do.
Your Twitter, it's really like a positive place to be. I love your feed. It's
Thank
like
you.
a lot of positivity, a lot of real like bridge building talk, a lot of love for the game and current players, which you don't always see from, veteran players.
Yeah.
Is that you just being you?
When I first got into the public space, I was fresh out the streets,
Yeah.
So for me, I was very standoffish. I did not want to be around people I did not know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You don't know who you can trust.
Don't know who you can trust. We're still going through things in our neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I think everybody's against us.
Right.
And then as I learn, I'm like, I want to have my own opinion. I want to meet people. When we were growing up, because we grew up in a box, you would have a perception of an Asian person, a Muslim person, a Jewish person, a Jehovah's Witness, because you're in your own little box.
Not like a real relationship with them, just
Just
this
what you
idea
see,
of them. Yeah.
maybe somebody said something, maybe you read something, maybe you saw something, and because other people feel like that, now you feel like that.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm still embrace who you are, embrace your culture, but just don't have a preconceived negative opinion of a group of people.
Shouldn't be too difficult, but it is for folks.
Yeah.
So in your playing days, you were famous for some pretty out there sound bites.
A lot of out there sound bites.
If you want to Google baby teeth, that's one of my favorites. And of course, Malice at the Palace and your struggles with mental health. Do you feel like now, the man that you are today, people that you are interacting with, like, see this new Metta, or are some people still looking at you as if you're Ron from days of old?
I'm not really concerned with what people think, because as I think about what some people actually thought of me, some of these people that thought, hey, Metta's a thug, or they actually even said that. When you look at their track record on one, giving back to people, helping people, being selfish, and not speaking up.
You got him beat on all counts. Yeah.
On key issues.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't judge them. I'm no better, but when you look at my track record, okay, yeah, from Queensbridge projects, grew up with a mom and dad. They separated at some point in time, grew up rough, took on the culture. People got a chance to see the culture through a basketball player, which was not normal. Actually seeing how real people you would call hardcore, call them rappers, whatever you want to call it, but you kind of saw it through a basketball player. That wasn't normal. It was like, how is this guy like that? But then, yeah, I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and this is really where I'm from. But then you see the transformation of the mind. Then you see somebody who's loving, somebody who's the leader, one of the leaders of mental health push in sport, in pro sports.
100%.
It hasn't been internal mental health therapists, social workers in organizations until I made that announcement.
Yeah.
That's giving back to the world. I don't care how much money you got. I don't care who you are. You could be going through things, and I wanted to let people know it's okay.
You mentioned the mental health stuff in the NBA and in sports now. I know you've said that before you started speaking out, you were afraid to, because you knew the media would make a big deal about it. You would create this perception. And then you went ahead and did it. And now, as you've said, it's normalized. It's sort of everywhere. Everyone can speak openly about it. Do you take a lot of pride in that? Do you feel like, I did that? Yeah, I mean, if I came out in 2004 or 2000 and said, I'm having problems, the media was kind of one funnel in that era. Yeah.
And
So not even just the media. I feel like society, we weren't talking about that stuff yet.
It's true. Nobody was talking about it. And we didn't have much sympathy or empathy for it.
Yeah.
Like I had a nervous breakdown in my rookie year. I told the story a couple of times. Maybe I told it on my documentary. I had a nervous breakdown on the highway. I had to pull over, get out the nervousness,
Yeah.
The episode, and then go to the game. Because there was a lot of pressure. Then on top of the pressure, I was drinking a lot of alcohol. I didn't understand that, alcohol is a depressant. So I didn't understand that as a 19-year-old. So that on top of everything. So from that perspective, I said, you know what? This is 2007. I'm feeling better about myself. I'm seeing therapists. I'm going to tell the world. And what about the person that can't afford therapy?
Right.
I had concern about that person. So I said, I'm going to go on national. I'm going to start talking about my journey so people will feel comfortable. If you can't afford it, at least you know that someone also feels like you. And
that's so powerful. It's so important.
Yeah.
So you coach Cal State LA women's basketball.
Yes.
And you talk about coaching a lot online and publicly. What do you love so much about coaching?
I love coaching. It's the number one thing in my life. I started coaching, I think, even when I was in high school, I had a lot of great coaches that coached me. And one day, Rick Carlisle told me I was going to be a great coach. It was 2003.
That's a good compliment.
It was a great I was in practice. I'm super intense in practice. At this point in my life, I think, yes, I'm the greatest defender. I'm becoming an all-star. I'm hard-nosed. I'm pretty good at basketball. And that's it. That's my identity. It's not a businessman. It's nothing else but that.
Yeah.
Then one day, Coach Carlisle comes into practice. Well, we're in practice. He says, Metta, Ron Artest at the time. He says, Ron, you're going to be a great coach. I said, really? It stuck with me and it gave me confidence. And I called myself a great coach. I coached women's basketball for 10 years. I've been coaching women's basketball. While I was in the NBA, after my practices, I was going to Palisades to coach under Coach Torino Johnson. And now he's at Cal State. So I've been coaching under him for 10 years.
Wow.
And I really love women's basketball.
What do you love about it?
I love the fact that what one said you can't do, that you can. I love giving the confidence that you can do everything they said you can't. Women are dunking now.
Oh, yeah.
At Duke, Toby Fournier from Canada, she's dunking. Candace obviously dunked. You got some girls is dunking with two hands, and I feel like, don't train like you're beneath a guy.
Right.
Train like you're trying to go to play against the guy, and I think you'll see an evolution. I believe Caitlin Clark can play. No disrespect to the guys. I really don't mean it, but I feel like she could play on someone's team, maybe at the end of the bench. I'm not going to get beside myself, but I feel like she can make a roster.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't leave her open.
Right.
I mean, guys is getting scored on anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now.
Mm-hmm.
You can't guard Ja Morant anyway. So now here we are. I think at some point you'll see a female in the NBA.
We've mentioned you changed your name, obviously from Ron Artest to Metta World Peace. In the Jewish tradition, a name change signifies like a great evolution or transformation. There's a biblical story where Jacob wrestles with an angel and then God says your name is now Israel. That's where we get Israel from. What did your transformation signify for you? What was that evolution? Well,
initially I was going to change my name to Sohood.
So Hood?
Yeah.
I think you made a better choice.
So, when Chad Ochocinco changed his name, right, and from Chad Johnson and Ochocinco, I was like, that is so cool. Now, this was in a time where I was 27 years old.
Okay.
I think he did in 2007. So I was still evolving in terms of still not even knowing who I am.
Yeah.
So, but the names every year would change. Then I said, I'm going to change my name to Sohood. I said, that's dope. Then I said, I'm going to change my name to Queensbridge. I'm going to have Queensbridge in the back. But every year it kept evolving. And I was like, no, I'm going to change my name to this. And then after I got with the Lakers, won the championship, I was already loving therapy at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I was already, and then I evolved from therapy to meditation.
What kind of meditation?
My therapist was Indian. It was mostly breathing meditation. And once I learned how to control my breath, I was like, this is a gift, like literally a gift from God, because I said, I never knew I had this control. I never knew I had control over myself. Once I realized I had control, my game got better. You know, you'll see when I played against the Lakers in the Rockets series, that was the best playoff series I ever had. You'll see how I played. They don't show the highlights, but pretty impressive.
We can find it on YouTube.
You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And then you go with Phil, the Zen Master, winning the championship, and just like being grateful and saying, okay, I'm going to still change my name. So I got influenced by Buddhism.
Right.
So that's where Metta came from.
Means loving kindness.
Love and kindness, you know, the ultimate level of love, kindness, and friendship. Because I didn't feel like that internally. I didn't feel like I wanted to be someone's friend for a long time. I didn't want to get to know nobody. And I was like, I got to flip this on its head. And then world peace came from just being affected by the Afghanistan war, being affected by the war in 1990. You know, not necessarily putting the blame on any one person, but just like wanting to make a difference. So initially I was going to change my name to another Buddhist Indian last name, because Metta is from the Indian Hindu culture. But I wanted to have something more broad there. So then world peace came, and I was like, man, should I do it? Should I do it?
It's a big decision.
It's a big decision. And then I was like, man, well, when people hear the name, people are always going to say world peace. And they're always going to be saying world peace. And I'm like, wow, I said, that could be really, really impactful. So I said, I'm going to do it. You know, and so it was a thing where I have a platform to do good.
You like call up your agent. You're like, hey, can you get me some name change papers? He's like, excuse me, what?
Name change paper. Yeah, I think it costs like, we had somebody to help us.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it cost like $30,000 at the time to like, just to get help. Because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, but we got it all changed up. And, you know, I thought it was worth it. I remember my first game I played, it was the Lakers versus the Clippers. I was with the Lakers. I was a sixth man at this time, or a seventh man. So I'm coming out, I'm going into the game, and I'm like, you stupid idiot.
What have I done?
I remember getting to the scores table and literally like looking at, we was away at the Clippers place. And I'm just like, you stupid idiot. I'm like, please, I need to change this name right now. I didn't want to go into the game. It felt so embarrassing.
I get it.
And like, we're in a world peace, and people are like, oh, I'm like, all right, cool, we did it.
Just rip the Band-Aid off, rip the warm off right off. Okay, so what about Panda's Friend? That was another name change. What is that transformation?
It wasn't a name change. It was more like an image. I was going to China. I was really starting to get inspired by Buddhism, because, you know, the Asian and whether you're Chinese or some Japanese, and then also Indian, kind of have Buddhism around that region. So I was looking at the yin and yang symbols and the panda and the color, and is just trying to bring more, you know, love and, like I said, flip the negativity on its head, turn it to a positive. And the Panda's Friend was more, it's a consumer brand, but it was like a friend of people. Like this brand, I'm your friend. I'm not your enemy. I'm your friend.
The last name change, you go from Metta World Peace to Metta Sandiford-Artest. So what does that one signify?
Well, my first wife, I met her when I was 15 years old in Queensbridge on Mob Deep's block.
Nice.
It was great. And we had 3 children together, and I have another child with another lady from Queens. You know, we're partners. We're in business together, so it's great. But I thought it was a great relationship. It was a 17-year relationship.
Oh, wow.
I was young, not mature, which is something else I want to start talking about, relationships. And, you know, when I got divorced after a 17-year relationship, I met my new wife. Her last name is Sandiford.
Right.
And she said, you're going to change your name to Sandiford. And I said, no, I'm not. And she said, yes, you are. And
why was that important to her?
I thought she was right. And for me, someone that's for women empowerment, because the things I've learned on how to treat women, I've learned how to use the analogies from music. That becomes culture. You know, the jargon, the language. And I felt like, wow. And then I've made music that was not disrespecting, but using language that should not be used. So I became motivated, you know, to almost right my wrongs with women in general on behalf of people that's afraid to maybe publicly want to right their wrongs as a culture as men, it's not being soft.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not being soft. It's about just paying homage. We help creation, but women really, they carry us.
Yeah, literally.
They literally carry us for 9 months, and that was really important to me.
So now I do want to get into a little bit of your early life back in Long Island City. Growing up in the projects, you already mentioned there was, no Jews around. You just had this idea of what Jews were. Can you recall like the first time you actually were in community with a Jewish person or exposed to actual Jewish people?
My first perception of a Jewish person probably was from Scarface. No, Godfather.
Oh,
the Consigliere.
The Consigliere, that's right, yeah.
So that was probably my first, okay, I seen this movie, the Consigliere. You go to somebody Jewish when you need to make some money,
Right.
But then, at some point in time, I wanted to learn about culture.
Yeah.
I wanted to meet the actual people who was a part of the culture, not like reading the book.
Yeah, right. How did you discover basketball? Like, what did being on the court mean for you growing up?
I was 8 years old, so I was ready to get in trouble. So my dad was like, you need to release your energy. So my dad brought me to the basketball court on 12th Street on Mobb Deep Block.
A lot happens on Mobb Deep's
block. A lot happened on Mobb Deep Block. A lot happened on that's for sure. But yeah, and then I remember going outside playing, and that's why I remember not being able to put the ball to my legs and, not being good, losing basketball games. I remember, and then the losing just giving me the drive to that. I hate losing. Because when I lose, you go home, you go to sleep, a loser.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. So I think that motivated me. But yeah, 8 years old, my dad introduced it to me as a way to relieve energy. It wasn't to make it.
Right.
And I think that was a gift and a curse because when I played the game to relieve energy and to let out frustration versus playing the game to execute.
Right. So there wasn't that pressure on you. I got to succeed at this to change my future.
It wasn't
I'm
that
just
pressure.
Playing to get this energy out and to feel good.
But if you don't know how to feel good, then you're taking that bad energy on other people. So as I learned that about myself, that's why therapy came into place. Because I don't want to play to survive. I want to play to win, and to be your friend later.
Right.
Versus I don't like you and just competing and if we fighting and all that stuff.
Okay, so then 1999, 16th pick of the NBA draft. What was that moment like for you and your family?
We were in D.C. That's where the draft was. That's when R.I.P. David Stern, when he was the commissioner. And he brings you up to the podium. And I remember the night before ironing my dollars.
Ironing your what?
My dollar bills, because at this point, I still had crumbled up dollars in my pocket.
Okay, and you're like, I'm about to be a pro. I need to have crisp bills.
I might have had $60 or something like that. And I remember just getting ready for this moment. So I ironed all my dollars. And Baron Davis came into my room and he saw me. He's like, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm ironing my money." And then, crying the day that we got drafted because it was just having that amount of money. Now I can help my family.
When did that become a consideration for you? Like on your path of like, hey, I might make it this thing and I can then, provide for my family and help change our situation.
I think when I was 16, I think I can make it.
So that young, when you were in high school, like this could be the real thing.
At junior year, I said, "Oh wow, I think I can make it." But before that, I didn't know.
You were McDonald's All-American, right?
Yeah, I was a McDonald's All-American.
Yeah, so you were one of the best in the country.
Yeah, I was definitely one of the best in the country. They tried to keep me out the game, and but I was, me and Elton Brand, we shared New York City Player of the Year. I was pretty good. We went 27-0 in the city. We lost in the state, which is
Who'd you lose to? Any NBA guys?
Oh, I got to give these guys credit. Long Island Lutheran. Oh, why do I have to give these guys credit?
Brutal. Still hurts.
It burns, but they deserved it. They played well. I have an excuse.
Okay.
Captain Ron Artest calls his team and says, "Hey, let's go swimming tonight. We're going to play Marco Polo."
This is what, the night before the game?
Yes.
Okay.
And let's get in the jacuzzi team. And hey, one more game before we are state champions. And guess what? We had no energy that next day. And I remember being out on the court. I'm talking to my teammates. The second we're down 20, I remember going through that moment and we came together like sorry guys, like Hector Dupree. Sorry, man. I'm so tired. I can't stop them.
Mm.
They deserved it.
Yeah.
I don't want to take nothing away from Long Island Lutheran.
Okay, one of my favorite stories about you from these early NBA days is that you worked at Circuit City for like a day and a half during your rookie season in Chicago because you liked hanging out there and you were buying all these DVDs and you were like, well, if I work here, I get the employee discount.
Yeah.
Amazing story. What did the manager say when you're like, yo, I'm Ron Artest, can I please work at this Circuit City?
When I first got drafted, it was $999,000. After tax, $500,000.
Right.
Right. So I borrowed some money from the bank, whatever. You're already in debt.
Right.
But you think you're $999,000, you think you're Bill Gates. Right?
Yeah.
I can buy
19 years old? Woo.
I can buy as many Reese's Pieces as I want.
Yeah.
I can buy as many Tahitian treats. Remember Tahitian treats back in the day?
I don't know that one.
It was a New York City drink.
Okay.
And it's like, but at some point in time, it's like, okay, I'm buying a lot of bag of chips. I can buy lots of egg sandwiches. Right? But at some point, you start taking flights. I want to fly first class, but nope, you can't this time because you don't have enough money in your account this time. And then I want DVDs, $16.99, $19.99. I get 20 and DVDs and VCRs. All right, hold on. I need to work at Circuit City because I'll get a 50% discount. So when I did that, people look at me like I was crazy. They, what are you doing working at Circuit City? I'm like, because I need the discount.
The logic's working. I get it. But what did they say to you? Like, where he's like, sure. Come.
The manager was great. I wish I knew his name. The manager was great. He actually respected that I wanted to do it, sent me through the process, and hired me.
And do you remember what DVDs you got with that employee discount?
Probably Men in Black. I watched that so many times. Maybe what's that movie? Hey, you guys. What's the name?
The Goonies.
Right, the Goonies. Yeah, definitely the Goonies. New movies like that I watch over and over again.
Right on.
Yeah.
I want to touch now on Malice at the Palace.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments in my life. Like I remember exactly where I was when I saw it. I was a freshman in college. It was fall of 2004. I was on campus. I went to UPenn in Philly in a restaurant pizza place called Allegro's, which sadly just got rid of their nighttime late hours, which is insane for a college campus. Allegro's, get it together. And I'm getting pizza. It's late. And I look up on the TV and I see it going down. I'm like, holy shit, this is crazy. And my takeaway when I'm watching it was very different from what the narrative ended up being in the media. I was like, I couldn't believe what the fans were doing. And I'm a performer, so I'm on stage a lot. There's there is a social contract there. Like we're over here, we're doing our thing, and your thing is to be over there and to be watching what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's a real breach.
It is a breach.
Big time. When the fan threw the beer at you, you're trying to calm it down. You're trying to de-escalate, then you get a beer thrown at you. Like, what switch flips in your brain? Is it that fight or flight from youth mode?
So the whole night, so we're playing well. So keep in mind,
the team was awesome.
Great team.
Yeah.
A lot of different things to unpack with the Pistons and the Pacers. So
Yeah.
me and Ben Wallace are the best defenders in the league.
Yeah.
At this time. Ben already got his first Defensive Player of the Year. And then the next year, I was up for it, but I led the league in flagrant fouls and techs. Ben got it again. Another Defensive Player of the Year. So I'm already like, I got to get one of these. And I got to get an MVP. So, they beat us one year, the year before prior, and they go to win the title. They beat the Lakers.
I remember it well. It was
they beat the Lakers.
A terrible time for me.
Yeah.
It was all Karl Malone's knee.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true too. I heard about
screwed us.
So the next year we come back, and I said, I'm not getting in trouble this year. I'm not fighting anybody. I'm in therapy. I'm literally in therapy. No matter what happens, if I'm fighting somebody, I'm getting into a fight or argument on the court, I move away. So when I moved to the stands, after he went through the commotion, I wanted to say, okay, where am I going to sit? There was so much commotion.
Yeah.
The bench was here. The seats, they move. The only thing that was sturdy was that table. So I go to the table and I lay down. I'm like, okay, this will be over in a minute. Ben's probably going to get ejected. The referees probably should have shared the fine because they didn't eject anybody.
Right.
Then you get the gentleman, John Green, who I'm a friend with. He
Amazing.
throws a beer at me, hits me in my face. And at that point, when everybody was like, oh, this is the black eye, the black eye of sports was, I don't want to get into the black eye.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to have to talk about when African Americans wasn't allowed. I don't even want to get into that.
It has nothing to do with that.
I don't even want to get into
a
that.
guy threw a beer at you.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then what happened was when he hit me, and I addressed it, and then I saw people trying to make it a race thing, and I'm totally the opposite.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So then I reached out to John, the gentleman who threw the cup, lost a lot of money because of it, and future revenue, and still, opportunities are not thrown my way.
Really?
So,
because of this, still?
100%.
Damn.
But I reached out to him because since I wanted to show people that you can have confrontation and you can talk about it and you can move on, and don't let people make things a race war.
Of all the fallout, the lost money, the lost wages, the year suspension, all that stuff, like, what hurt you the most?
Missing the games. That still hurts. MJ hit me up. It was like, hey, young fella, you're going to be all right. I'm going to try to get you back in here. So I thought I was going to get back in. When Michael Jordan said he's going to get back in, I'm like, okay.
It's like the only battle Michael Jordan's ever lost, apparently.
He lost that one because it didn't happen. And I remember just saying, just take the money. Like, I just want to play because we can win a title. I didn't start it. I'm going to be all-star. I'm going to get defensive player of the year again. I'm going to be first team all NBA or second team. I'm another first team all defense and an opportunity to win a title. I don't need no money.
Yeah.
I'm like, the money hurts. Believe me, the money hurts. Take the money. I'm telling you to take the money. But they couldn't just do it. They had to make it money and the games. At least let me come back for the playoffs.
Right.
86 games. So the games.
Biggest suspension ever.
But it's okay.
Yeah. You got other accolades and
I got a lot of accolades. I still got a lot.
Speaking of accolades, which one meant the most to you? The Defensive Player of the Year, the Kennedy Citizenship Award, or being an NBA champion?
Kennedy Citizenship Award.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. That award is incredible.
What does that mean to you, winning that?
It means that I'm becoming who I want to become. It means we making a change. That award is so special to me. I raffled off my championship ring, gave all the money away to mental health institutions. I actually gave some other awards away, but that award is one award I'm not parting with.
All right, going to take a little detour now into Lakerland because I'm a giant Lakers fan, as anybody who has followed me for any length of time would know. I grew up watching Kobe, been going to the games, started with my dad almost 30 years ago. So diehard Lakers fan. Playing with Kobe, playing under Phil Jackson, these are really strong, dynamic personalities. I imagine that would have been, for some people intimidating, but for you maybe really comforting because you've got these, you've got a strategy, you have a formula, you have a role. I mean, was that the experience?
Initially, it was difficult.
Because what? You're used to being the man.
For 6 years of my career, I was, the go-to guy.
Mm-hmm.
But going to LA, I had to be a role player. That was tough. In my prime, and it was tough because in your prime, I was only averaging 7 points my first year as a Laker, but I was really good.
Right.
You
it's not all about the points. You were doing all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, I was doing other stuff, but the year before that, in the playoffs, I was averaging 25 or 22 in the playoffs against the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
That was, so I didn't get a chance to really show what I can do in my prime.
Yeah, but you had to know that was coming going to Kobe Bryant's team, right? Or did it catch you off guard? Did they sell you on a different vision?
No, it wasn't them. What really caught me off guard was not being able to adjust. The first half of the season, I didn't know how to be effective as a role player. The rhythm, it's a different rhythm.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're playing the game a different way.
You're playing a different way. But I became good in the playoffs.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, I found the rhythm. It's like the rhythm was meditate, relax, playing the rhythm, and don't look at the stats. Just play your game.
I've actually been to a number of your big games, including what I would say is probably, at least for me and the fans, the biggest. Game 5, 2010, Western Conference Finals against the Suns. To go up 3-2, you hit the game winner at the last second, get that layup. Unbelievable moment. I actually have the video to prove it. So what did that moment mean to you in the moment? And what does it mean to you now, that game winner?
What it was a gift from the basketball gods, because when I was going through everything I was going through in my career, when I wasn't as friendly to my teammates. Or I wasn't as outgoing to my teammates and getting in trouble and just throwing it all away because of my emotion. Maybe I was going through stuff. Maybe I had a right that people didn't know about. Maybe I could have made better decisions. I said, because of this, I'm never going to win a championship like I wanted to. Now, here we are in 2009. I'm playing with the Lakers, got a chance to win a championship. I'm like, the basketball gods must have said, you served your time.
Yeah. You're on the right path, and they're recognizing it.
It boosts my ego. I'm going to tell you that.
Yeah. So I get it.
Definitely boosts my ego. It validated that I was good.
You probably needed that after this whole year of playing, fourth banana.
And after the whole career of just like uncertainty. And so it was just like to have that moment, I sometimes I watch the shot and I'll be like, yeah, kind of root for myself. In the moment I was numb. In the moment I didn't feel anything. No fans, no noise. I was having a really horrible game.
Right.
But that's one of those things where when you're a role player, you can't, because you're playing bad, you can't just say, oh, I'm not going to shoot. You got to keep shooting the shot that's there. Mm-hmm. You might go 1 for 10. The fans might say you suck. And you're in your prime. I know I don't suck. Yeah. But I'm just not in a rhythm. And then I hit that shot, led us to game 6. And then I had 26 in the closeout game. So I had some big moments. That was actually really cool because I didn't really know what happened, honestly. Kobe jumps on me. The team jumps on me. I know it's big, but they think it's bigger than what I think it is. You know what I mean?
They must have been psyched for you. Like they must have seen your struggles through the year, right? And now you get this incredible historic moment.
I think so.
All right, little lightning round. I'll throw a couple quick ones at you. Favorite Jewish food you've ever tried?
The crispy rice.
Tadik, that's the rice where they cook it at the bottom and they flip it and you get that crispy top.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. So this is like a Sephardic Persian Shabbat. So you got some Persian friends.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But actually, these Shabbats was mixed.
Tell me about this Shabbat you were at.
Well, I would have never thought about it until you just said that.
Thought about what?
The Persian
Who was there?
Shabbat versus another type of culture, Jewish Shabbat.
Yeah, different. How many Shabbats have you been to in your day?
Maybe.
I don't need an exact.
Maybe 12.
Okay, so a bunch. Oh, right on.
Obviously, Shabbats are great. Just eating together. It wasn't something that we did all the time as in our house. So we did it at one point in time, but it's not. Maybe as a family.
Yeah.
And we broke up, but to do it every Friday, I think that's like something that you got to take and run with.
Yeah, no doubt. What's the best advice a Jewish mother ever gave you?
Eat meals together, spend time with your family.
Who's your favorite Jewish athlete?
I'm going to go with Jordan Farmer.
I actually just saw him at the Dodgers World Series Game 1. Went up to him and said, what's up?
Oh, he was there?
Thanked him for his Lakers service. Yeah.
Absolutely. I also like Caspi.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's
Omri
Caspi, yeah. He's I think he was one of the first.
He was the first.
He was the
first Israeli player in the league, yeah.
And a really good player too. A good player, yeah.
Metta, thank you so much for being here, man. This was incredible. So great talking to you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
That just happened. Thanks to Metta Sandiford-Artest for taking time out of his very busy schedule to be here with me today. Your journey is so inspirational, and I know everyone learned a lot from you listening to us. Thanks to Jews Talk Justice for putting me and Metta in the same room. Thanks to all of you out there enjoying this show. Please help us spread the word in whatever way you can. I'll see you back here for the next fabulous episode of Being Jewish with me, Jonah Platt.